All right, let's talk about the AP Rhetorical Analysis essay. I know, it can feel super intimidating, but today we're going to crack the code and turn that challenge into a clear game plan for success.
So, have you ever just stared at that blank page, that prompt, and thought, where do I even begin? Trust me, you are not alone. It's honestly one of the trickiest parts of the whole exam.
But what if I told you the secret, the key to a great score, is actually hidden in plain sight? It's the official scoring rubric, and we're going to decode it together. Let's dive in.
Okay, here's our game plan. We've got 6 steps. We'll kick things off by looking at the challenge itself, then get into the core of rhetoric. After that, we'll break down how to nail each part of the rubric, the thesis, the commentary, and that tricky sophistication point. And then we'll wrap it all up with your winning strategy. All right, first up, let's just acknowledge the problem. The real challenge of this essay isn't just, understanding what you read. It's about explaining how the author makes their argument work. And doing all of that with a clock ticking down, it's a lot of pressure.
And that brings us right to the core of rhetoric. This is maybe the most important thing to remember. It's not what they say, it's how they say it. That shift in focus is everything.
So really, your job is to be a detective. The biggest mistake students make is just summarizing the author's point. But that's not your job. Your task is to analyze the strategic choices they made, the specific moves they used to try and persuade their audience. You can think of it like this. Every writer has a toolkit. And these 3 right here, ethos, pathos, and logos, are the classics. They use ethos to sound credible, right? Pathos to connect with your emotions, and logos to hit you with logic and reason. Your job is to spot which tools they're pulling out of the bag and, more importantly, why. And this shows the difference perfectly. That first thesis on the left, it just summarizes the topic. Smith wants more green space. Okay, great. That doesn't get you the point. But look at the one on the right. It makes a real claim about the author's rhetorical choices, using vivid description, using testimony. That is the analysis the graders are looking for.
Okay, so with that in mind, let's jump into the rubric itself and see how this all works, starting with row A. This is the foundation of your entire essay, the thesis.
And here it is, right from the College Board. This is the official language for that thesis point. Now, you don't need to read every single word. The main thing is, it's a simple 0 or 1. You either get it or you don't. But believe me, earning this single point is absolutely crucial. It really sets the stage for the rest of your score. So what's the difference between a 0 and a 1? It's pretty clear here. You do not get the point if you just restate the prompt or summarize what the author said. To earn the point, you have to make what they call a defensible claim about the writer's rhetorical choices. You have to argue how they're building their case.
And if you're ever feeling stuck, like, how do I even start writing this thesis? Here's a fantastic little tool from the Princeton Writing Center. It's basically a fill-in-the-blank formula, and it's awesome because it forces you to hit all the key components: who the writer is, who the audience is, what the purpose is, and, most importantly, the specific rhetorical techniques you're going to analyze.
All right, so once you've got that solid thesis locked in, it's time to start climbing the commentary ladder. This is row B on the rubric, and it's where the bulk of your points, up to 4 of them, are going to come from. Okay, here's row B, which is all about your evidence and commentary. I know, it looks a little intimidating, a lot of text, but don't worry. The easiest way to think about this is like a ladder with 4 rungs, and you're trying to climb to the top. So let's talk about that journey up the ladder. At the bottom, for 1 point, you're pretty much just summarizing your evidence. To get to 2 points, you start explaining how it relates to the argument. But to get to the top, for 3 and 4 points, you have to start explaining how these rhetorical choices actually work. And for that top score, that 4, you have to consistently explain how multiple choices work together to achieve the author's purpose. So what does that top rung really look like in practice? Well, essays that score a 4 don't just list a bunch of examples. No, they pick really specific, powerful quotes and details. They build a clear, organized argument, a line of reasoning, and they connect every single piece of evidence back to their main thesis. It's all about that depth and consistency. Okay, and finally, let's talk about that single elusive sophistication point. This is row C. You should really think of this as the boss level of the essay. It's like a bonus point for really exceptional thinking. And let me be clear, this is not about using big, fancy vocabulary or super complex sentences just for the sake of it. No. It's about showing a deeper, more complex, more nuanced understanding of the whole rhetorical situation. And again, where do we look for clues on how to get it? The rubric. Let's take a quick look at the official language to see exactly what the scorers have in mind when they award this point. So, you can see you don't get it for just making sweeping generalizations or using complex words badly. You do get it for things like explaining the broader significance of the writer's choices, or digging into the complexities or tensions inside the passage itself. You can even earn it by just writing with a style that is consistently vivid and persuasive yourself.
So there you have it. We've pretty much cracked the code of the rubric, right? We've gone through the thesis, the evidence and commentary, and that really tough sophistication point. So now let's put it all together into your winning game plan.
Okay, here it is, your 4-step roadmap to success. 1. Thesis. Lock in that point by making a clear, defensible claim about the author's choices. 2. Evidence. Use specific quotes and details, not just summaries. 3. Commentary. This is the big one. Consistently explain how that evidence proves your thesis. And 4. Sophistication. Try to push your analysis a little deeper. Explore the nuance, the context, the complexity. That's it. That's the plan.
Because really, mastering this whole process isn't just about passing one test. It's about becoming a sharper, critical reader. It's about becoming a more thoughtful consumer of information in a world that's just full of it. And it's about becoming a more persuasive writer in everything you do. You have the tools now. So what will you look for in the next argument you encounter?